Welcome to Talk Birdie-tome. This is Australia's most popular golf podcast, with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn, the only player to beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and tour pro Mark Allan, who played professional golf around the world for 15 years, including a British Open. We're coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist is the number one ball in golf, and FootJoy is the number one shoe and glove in golf. And thanks to our great partners, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. Ping, as with Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now that's better. Now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie-tome. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allan.
There's a little bit of showmanship.
Very cool.
Soaking in the moment. And all that promise is realized. Min Woo Lee is a PGA Tour champion.
Well, there's nothing better, is there? Turning up to work, and we've got an Australian winner or two to talk about. Where were you when you watched that? Were you at home? Where were you?
Ooh, where was I? I think I was out on the golf course, actually. So, yeah.
Keeping up to date on the phone?
Well, yeah, I was looking at the scores. So you were probably watching it on your phone, weren't you? Where were you?
I was at the Peninsula Kingswood Pro Shop.
Okay.
So I was doing a playing lesson for some fantastic members, Russell and Joe from Box Hill Golf Club. And the Pro Shop was completely full. And, you know, I do what you do. When I'm in the car, I put it on audio. So if you go to the PGA Tour app, there you go to where you can play video. And then, funnily enough, it'll have audio. And they have PGA Tour radio every single week. So I had that playing all the way the Peninsula Kingswood.
Nice.
I managed to see the drive, okay? And you know what drive I'm talking about, the one 16. On 16.
16.
My God, my heart sunk. It felt like my footy team had lost the grand final or something. You know, I was so keen for this kid to win. I was so keen for him to break through because, you know, he's had those last group experiences that have gone pear-shaped for him. So when he hits that drive, I'm thinking, oh, my God, you've got Scotty Scheffler birdieing what did he beat? 13, 14, 15 and 16.
Yeah, well, he had a 3-shot lead at that stage, and then Scotty just birdied 16, so now it's down to 2, and then he flares one right, and you're going, oh, no. And it didn't even cross. It was a long way right.
Yeah. And they'd moved that tee up too. I thought it was brilliant. They actually moved those tees quite well. That 16 was moved up, so you had to shape it around the corner. And the day before, the 17th was moved up, so players could actually drive that hole. So that sort of stuff for the PGA Tour to be making it interesting, it really works. And it's very important to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, he didn't do it with his driver this week. He did it with his putter.
Yeah, I'm with
you.
you.
He had 104 putts for the week. So
Number
23 putts round one, and then 3 straight rounds of 27 putts.
Yeah,
that works.
You and I both know, you know, to have the lowest number of putts for the week means you've got to be chipping well also. So we always talk about his driving, how he hits laser beams and all the rest of it. We always talk about that X factor. But in actual fact, his chipping and putting was absolutely brilliant this week. And not just the easy chips, the so-called easy chips, but also some of the hard ones. I'm not sure whether you saw the day before where he was on fire and he hit a flyer from the rough. You know, they call them mud balls over there. I'm not sure how much the mud had to do with it, but it might have been just a little bit of a fly because it went screaming over the back. And he had to lay the club back. You know, he's playing with Scotty Scheffler.
I didn't see much of his round with Scotty, unfortunately.
Oh, well, he lit it up with Scotty. Wow. And see, that was as important as what he did in those last 3 holes after he hit the ball into the water. Because here's your opportunity again. You're in the last group. This time you're in the last group with Scotty Scheffler. And for him to light it up when he was kind of the third man in that group. Who else was he playing with that day? Yeah, I forget.
You got me.
It was Scheffler and probably the other leader, whoever that was. But Scheffler was the story. And for him to get the 7 under par, and when he made that little mistake to go over the back and have the courage to lay it open, sling that club face underneath, get it coming out low, hit it the 4 foot, and then make the putt like it was, you know, the easiest 4-footer he's ever hit in his life. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to do something a little crazy in the final round on the 8th hole where
what happened? I didn't see that.
He blocked his tee shot out to the right. He's under some trees, and I think we've got some footage here, Dan, of him. He wants to play it off his knees, but his caddy, Bo Martin, who's basically a dead ringer for Shane Lowry's dad, by the way, because he caddied for Shane when he won the Open Championship at Royal Port Rush.
So Shane Lowry replaced that Santa Claus-looking Irish caddy with another Santa Claus-looking Irish caddy.
I guess. Who's on Shane's bag these days?
Another Irishman who looks like Santa Claus.
Oh, there you go. But
they're just churning them out. They're just going down to David Jones and finding Irish Santas.
But Bo Martin's his name, and on that 16th tee, he also really talked. Said to Minwoo, look, hang on, let's take it easy, let's calm down. We're in a good spot. Let's just hit a good quality tee shot. But if we go back to the 8th hole in the final round, and now he's blocked his drive, and I think Dan's got this footage here, and basically Minwoo's saying to Bo, I want to get on my knees and I want to hit this thing. And Bo's going, mate, no. What are you doing? Let's just take a drop. Let's just take a drop. And anyway, he said, I've got too much loft here. And Bo's just trying to talk him out of it. And,
so how does he end up making par then, Nick?
So what happens is, because
he didn't make a bogey. The only bogey he made was on 16 for the day.
Exactly, yeah. So this is a par 5. So he took a drop. And what he did is he then hit a 4-iron underneath the trees, about 40, 50 metres short, pitched it onto 6 feet and made the putt.
There you go.
Really smart. Because if he'd have tried to play that off his knees, he might have got stuck behind the trees in front of him. I think the commentators, not that we could hear, but on the US coverage,
on the US
rather
feed.
than the world feed, we'll get to all this, they were kind of saying, well, why wouldn't he just sort of get on his knees and chip it through? But I think it was a really smart decision, and his caddy, Bo, did a wonderful job.
Well, that's you don't need to do that when you're leading a tournament, do you? I mean, maybe if you're trying to make up ground, if you're 2 shots back and you're 2 shots back of Scotty Scheffler, who you know is just going to light it up in the last 3 holes, without nerves.
Yep.
Maybe it's an option then, but not when you're leading the tournament and it is a par 5 and you're chipping and putting so well. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this little leprechaun who is caddying for Minwoo Lee, because he's only new on the golf bag. I can't remember him being there for...
Oh, he's been there he was at the Players on his bag. Yeah, he's been there a little while. Is it a new
edition this year?
Could be.
Okay.
Could be. I'm not sure.
Well, one of the things that the international feed did very well was show the conversation between player and caddy. And in these situations when your mind is racing a million miles an hour, and I can only imagine what was going through Minwoo's head, because he got to the last group on the 3rd round of the Players' Championship and had a really tough day.
Yep.
He hadn't had a top 10 this year on the PGA Tour. And you're trying to win for the first time, which is really important. He's had 3 other wins, maybe 4 other wins around the world. But his head must have been racing, and the conversations that he was having with Bo were superb.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful to listen to. And Nick, you know as well as anybody in those situations when there are 1,000 things whizzing around your head. All you've got to do is think clearly. That's it.
Yeah, that's simple, right?
That's all you got. That's all you got to do in those situations is think clearly. And if you have a caddy who is there, who is thinking clearly for you, wow, what a difference that was.
Well, that's the great thing about having a good caddy, because what you do before a round is you have strategies, you have plans in place that you want to execute. Now, throughout a round of golf, and when things start to go pear-shaped, logic and reason go out the window.
Sometimes
they really do.
Yeah,
and that's when you need a great person on the bag to say, hang on, we've spoken about this. This is what we're going to do right here and right now. And as a player, you go, oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember just saying that.
Right.
That's sorry. My mind was just fried. So.
You just reminded me about the time where you said you would never hit a wood to the 15th at Augusta.
That's right, yeah.
And you took, what was it, the 5 wood or the 3 wood?
The 3 wood, yeah.
Yeah, quickly tell the story quick.
So we got Masters week coming up, obviously. But the 15th hole at Augusta, par 5, where... it's a reachable hole, but for myself, I can't hit high 3 woods. It's a bit of a struggle. 5 wood, no problem. Yeah. And Wilbur and I, my caddy, we said, right, before this round, before the first time I play in Augusta, we came up with the plan on 15. If I don't have 5 wood or less in, I'm not going for this green. If I've got to hit 3 wood,
great plan.
I'm not going in.
It makes sense, Nick.
Absolutely. First round, top of the hill, late in the day. You got the sun setting behind the trees. It's majestic. I mean, it's just one of those. It's one of those scenes where you just dream of. I've seen this. I've seen this in my mind for 30 years or whatever. Yeah, 25 years I've been watching this tournament. Wilbur, he's giving me the numbers, going right. Yeah, it's this. So okay, we're going to lay it up. We're going to hit an 8-iron down the left side. Pin was on the right. No
Wilbur's
problem.
a great caddy.
He's brilliant.
He's a brilliant caddy.
And I say to Wilbur, give me the 3 wood. He goes, Nick, we've spoken about this. Yeah. No. I said, Wilbur, give me that damn 3 wood. I've been seeing this shot in my mind for 25 years. I want to go for it. He said, no, you can't. Bad things. I said, I don't care. I really don't care. I have to hit this shot because I've seen it so many times. Yeah. Straight over the back. Yeah. Worst spot to be. I almost go into the water on 16. It went so because I was so pumped. Yeah. I ended up getting up
completely flushed it, did you?
And my chip shot came up short of the green, which you do because if you go long, you're in the water. Yeah. Anyway, I ended up making about an 8-foot putt for par. As we're walking off the green, he says to me, "Have you got that out of your system?" I said, "Yep," but geez, I'm glad I did it.
Right. So see, here's the point. So you're one of the most level-headed, ice-cool characters under pressure that we've produced in Australian golf, and I think most people who watch the game understand that because you just played great week after week after week, and it didn't matter whether it was a major or a regular tour event. If you were playing well, you finished well. Simple as that.
But we all go weak at the knees.
That's right, and that's what people don't understand. I don't think you do. In these crazy situations you find yourself in on a golf course, the hero inside you sometimes overwhelms the sensible dude inside you.
You've got to beat him down with a stick every now and then. Just get down there. No.
Stop it. So that caddy, Bo the superstar. Bo the superstar was a superstar. Yep. And there is no doubt at all that he had an influence in that win.
You know, the other thing about it, what I heard afterwards was Minwoo was talking about his team, his agents and people. Yeah. He wasn't even going to play this week. They entered him into the tournament and he wasn't happy. He didn't want to play.
Are you kidding me? I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is what I'd heard. He needed to put one more event in the schedule, and this event, the Houston Open, for years it's been at a different course. I can't remember the name.
And it was always the week before the Masters.
The week before the Masters.
And they used to have the ryegrass. It was very similar, right?
And that's like
Augusta.
Exactly what they had at this golf course was what they do is they shave the greens and the fairways so the green runs away from you, things like that. So the course is very much a match, which is why Scotty played, why Rory played.
That's right.
Now they're going to have the next week off so they can now prepare for Augusta.
That was a players' initiative, wasn't it? They wanted a course set up similar to Augusta so that they could have a week there getting used to Augusta conditions, which makes sense.
So I think Minwoo's pretty happy with his team now that they did enter him and he ended up winning. Crazy game.
Yeah, it is a crazy game. Yeah. Scotty Scheffler, I mean, honestly, he was frustrated early too. Those 4 birdies in a row gets him rolling. Rory McIlroy, I reckon, gains a lot of confidence out of what he did in the last round as well.
Still a lot of looks and still has Harry on the bag.
Gary Woodland, okay. I just want to mention this. Gary Woodland not so long ago had brain surgery.
Yeah.
And he just shot a 62, which is a course record. I think about 10 players have got it now. That's a mighty performance.
Incredible.
Brain surgery, course records to finish second. Amazing.
Yep.
Incredible stuff. Anyway, so well done to Minwoo. This sets him up. Now, you tell me, because you'd have a much better idea than I do. When something significant like this happens in a young man's world, what does it do for him as far as the walking, the talking, the feeling like I belong with the big boys?
Yeah, it was the one thing off his resume, I guess, for him. He's won 3 times in Europe, twice in Australia, hadn't won in the US. I think this was his 56th start or something like that. He's played President's Cup.
Yep.
Now it's about obviously winning in America on the PGA Tour, and then now it's majors time, obviously. And that's the good thing about Minwoo is he doesn't shy away. He never has on the big stage. He loves it. Obviously, he's huge on social media. Let him cook, all this sort of stuff, wearing the chef hat, the Lululemon stuff.
He's got as big a crowd as anybody at that tournament.
Yeah,
I heard
think so.
International feed commentators.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to them. I heard them, and by the way, we love you. You're nice people, but we just want the other feed.
Yeah.
They mentioned that with Minwoo on Thursday and Friday, so rounds 1 and 2, had as big an audience, as big a gallery as anybody. So he's beloved.
Scheffler's a Texan, and it was almost 50-50, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is exactly right. Anyway, Masters not far around the corner. He can win it.
He can.
He can
However,
win. Things are going to go well for him.
Scotty's just building momentum. I mean, I don't know what his odds are going to be going into it, but...
You talking about this Adam Scott, the one behind us on the screen?
Scotty Scheffler.
Oh,
I'm
Scotty
talking about,
Scheffler,
yeah.
right.
What a great picture that is, by the way.
That's one of the greatest ever golf pictures in Australian history with Mark Leishman with the fist. Looks like he's going to whack me on the head. And Scotty there looks like he's going to give you a pash, Nick, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like,
What a beautiful picture. The other beautiful picture is when he's got the green jacket on and the raindrops
the
are
rain.
coming down.
I love the one where he's back, with the arms.
Yeah.
When he holds that putt on 18 or... No, the one in the playoff, actually, yeah. That's when he did it. Anyway.
Now, we're here at Talk Birdie to me. We've done a 60-minute style investigation into what is going on with the world feed. Oof. It is huge. On our social medias, that's all anybody wants to talk about. They don't care about Minwoo Lee. We just want the other feedback. Now, I can tell you this because I've done a little investigation myself. So I've spoken to somebody at Fox Sports. The reasoning is because the complaints about just seeing American players on the coverage was not just coming from Australia. It was coming from all corners of the globe. And this was getting back. So remember the old when we're getting the international feed and you'd have that funny commentator with the funny squeaky voice. He would come on and he would show you just 4 or 5 international players, random shots.
That was in the commercial breaks in the US.
That's right. So that was kind of their offering to the rest of the world to kind of show some other players. I didn't mind that because you'd get the odd look at Badley or you'd get the odd look at, whoever else was out there.
I don't think he knew much about golf, that guy, actually.
He didn't know much about golf, but that didn't bother me. He'd been doing the job for 30 years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have sacked him. He was fine.
He's a filler.
He's a filler. Exactly right. So what they've tried to do, they must have that much cash over there.
They do.
They've just got another group of commentators and they're just trying to fit in more random internationals into their feed. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't give a stuff about all these random internationals who are miles off the leaderboard with no chance to win.
Well, the PGA Tour now have a new headquarters, studio headquarters over there, which is a specific building just for the coverage. And I was doing a bit of research, and it says something like, for international markets hungry to watch their own players compete at the highest level, the PGA Tour will feed the world what it wants. Apparently.
Well, they don't know what we want.
Designed to improve the international fan experience, the world feed will feature customised coverage, graphics, blah, blah, blah. Keep going anyway. And Lewis, I don't know how you say his last name, Gorciara, PGA Tour Senior Vice President of Media, said the PGA Tour is proud to give international golf fans exactly what they want, more coverage of their country's favourite players each and every week. But unfortunately, that means we're going to get some voices that we're not used to, and it's...
And you and I, we've made this clear. So if you happen to be listening, Jay Townsend, if you happen to be listening, Nitties, I love you, mate. You're a star. James, you're a star. But it's not so much you guys, but it is what we're seeing. We want to see...
I want to hear.
And hear. We want to see people who've got a real chance to win, more of them. So...
Well, last week you said it. You could do it the first couple of rounds, maybe even the third round, but the final round, let's get into it. Let's get these.
Yeah.
We've spoken about the best commentators are the international ones, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they're there. They're there. They've got all the details. They've spoken the players. Their stories are better.
Yeah.
The international feed is how you guys do it in the PGA Tour productions, where you're off-site and you're watching the TV, and it works really well for that. I mean, you couldn't fault it. It's perfect. And it has to be done that way, so we get coverage of the Australasian Tour, which is great. But you want the commentator... I like it when Trevor Immelman says, I was speaking to Scotty Scheffler yesterday on the range
or whatever,
and he was telling me he was working on this.
Yep.
Now, that's the insight that I think a lot of golfers crave when we watch the international circuit. And, you want all the... You want what they have to offer. And unfortunately, the ones back in Florida... They just don't have that.
And unfortunately, I think that's what we're going to get for the rest of the season. Hopefully, I'm praying not the Masters or the majors.
Oh, mate, if it's the Masters, there will be that much kickback.
If we don't get Jim Nance and Finchy and all the guys, it'll be pretty disappointing.
It will. The war will be on. It'll be a monster war. Now, this is a great example, Nick, of you don't listen to people.
Yeah.
ever, right? You just do
Yeah.
what is right. And if you do happen to listen to people, then once you understand that it's the wrong thing, then you do an about face really quickly, or you subtly change it. And like what you're saying, maybe we get the international feed for round 1 and 2, when really, it's just a horse race and they're just going around the back straight.
Yeah.
That's fine. And then, the last round, just give us the best, or even the last 2 rounds. I want the last 2 rounds. Give me the fair income feed for the last 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And that way you give James Nitties and Jay Townsend the weekend off. See you later, boys. Thanks for helping out. We don't want to sack you. We want to give you some work. But we'll leave you there.
Yep.
Australian Open update time.
Oh, okay. Yes. What have you got?
I've spoken to somebody who's very close to things. I can't say his name.
Okay.
He was telling me that there's been some dead ends.
Oh, okay.
He's optimistic, but there have been some dead ends with what is going on. Now, it's April. So it's May, June, July, August, September, October, November. We're 7 months away.
7 months.
From a November Australian Open. They've got to find 3 million Aussie for it to be included on the European Tour. I would imagine that is now a headache, considering last year they only raised 1.7.
So they have to have 3 million, do they?
If they want it on the European Tour,
That's got to be the
for
minimum.
the 2026 schedule,
Wow.
the minimum purse is $2 million US.
Okay.
So that's a headache.
Yeah.
So to me, if you are not calling Greg Norman immediately and saying, hey, Greg, we need to talk to you and Yasser.
I saw him the other day, actually.
Where'd you see the shark?
I was up at Cathedral. Yeah.
Well, he designed Cathedral, didn't he?
He designed Cathedral. He was up there checking on things with David Evans and a few other guys. And, it was good to see him, actually. He's still fit as a fiddle. My goodness. I mean, he's 70-year-old. And but I think what he's working on a lot at the moment as well, he's part of the Olympic Committee, I think, for 2032.
So Royal Queensland?
Royal Queensland.
Yeah.
But
North Adelaide.
North Adelaide.
Yeah.
So he's going to redesign all that as well. So that's a lot of his focus. But he's in good form. But yeah, I only saw him briefly, so I should have actually mentioned.
Should have mentioned it to him.
I was busy doing other stuff. But anyway, so always good to see the Shark.
So that's what if I'm James Sutherland, I'm calling Shark immediately and saying, hey, Shark, we're having a little bit of trouble here. We just want to talk to you and Yasser. And then you talk to you and Yasser and say, hey, Yasser, if we move it to February, can we organise, you're in pretty close with the PGA Tour at the moment, you're having these talks. If we've got Live Adelaide on this date, let's try and work out so the Australian Open can piggyback on the back. You and I can march into the Royal and Ancient and shore up those 3 open spots for the top 3 players who don't already have an exemption. Then we'll fly straight to the USGA and see if we can get the same thing for the US Open. Then we'll go to the PGA of America and see if we can get the same thing for the PGA. You, me, Greg, let's get it sorted so the Australian Open, maybe it becomes the Aramco Australian Open. The girls, and before everyone goes crazy, the girls have had Aramco in the background of their tournaments for 10 years and nobody said one word.
Well, they're
not
ladies,
a word.
They're part of the Ladies European Tour, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. So if Aramco can be the major sponsor and put it on the back of Live, that way Live players, at least 3 who aren't already exempt for the majors, will have...
Like we saw last week in Macau.
That's exactly right. It becomes an Australian... It becomes a US... it becomes a majors qualifying event. And that way, I would be staggered if you didn't get 95% of the Live players playing.
You're onto something.
But you've got to move. You
Yeah.
can't sit at Sandringham.
Well, I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they are behind the scenes working hard at this. I mean, look, I don't know. You've got the sources, I don't. So.
Well, I get told what I get told, and who knows whether that's right or wrong.
Okay.
Who knows? I mean, who knows? People are probably pushing their own barrow. Beautiful picture in the background. Augusta next week, folks. I found this photo on social media. Now, Dan, get it up. This is the 12th hole at Augusta, and I think it's a picture from
My favourite hole.
Is it?
It's for a left-hander. It's
golden
it's
for you.
it's the easiest hole on the course for a lefty.
Yeah.
But my favourite hole in the world of golf is the 12th at Augusta.
Well, I want you to have a look at your favourite hole in 1952.
Oh, well, it wasn't my favourite hole then.
Look at that. That is a piece of garbage.
Well, it's 1952. It still looks a great hole.
Look at the fence in the background. The fence
Wow.
would have cost 50 cents.
Look how shaggy and everything it is. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is crazy. And then you look at the bottom
And
half
then
of
the
that
bottom,
picture.
Oh.
Look at the transformation.
Well, the thing about it is, what's the bridge? Is
Well,
that Hogan's?
one of them's Hogan's Bridge,
Yeah.
and one of them is Nelson's Bridge, or is it Saracen's? Yeah, well, Saracen's on.
Saracens is on 15, I think. Right?
Yes, Ben Hogan, and I think there's Byron Nelson. I think they've both
on
got
13,
bridges.
Yeah. I think that's the Hogan Bridge. But you walk across that bridge, and it gives you chills when you do, because you go, yeah, people can't get over this bridge unless you're playing the golf course.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's not too many people have played that golf course.
Isn't that
So it's pretty
fantastic?
special.
No, look, I cannot wait. There's not much else to report about this year's Masters. I mean,
yet.
I look on the app. We're not very far out. Really the only stories they've got there are Scheffler's menu for the Champions Dinner. No changes to the golf course and bugger all else.
You know what I'm going to do next week? I'm going
What's
to
that?
bring in the little invite you get.
Yeah, I want to see.
Oh,
that.
yes.
That players, when you're invited to the Masters, this is what you get, and you'll go, is that it?
Yeah. When does it arrive?
Oh, well before. I mean, I can't remember.
January?
Well, it depends.
December?
It depends when you're exempt. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're top 50 by the end of
Right.
December 31st the year before, well, then you probably get an invite just after that.
Yeah.
Or if it's because they give another one in March sometime. If you're top 50 in the world again.
Yeah.
But those things have all changed now. But you usually get in the first couple of months of the year.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, can you just play Minwoo's putt from behind the green on the 72nd hole, please? Because
I'm going to do my masterclass on it.
I know you're doing your masterclass. When I saw that, I thought, oh my God, is he going to chip? Because that, feeling for the kid, I wasn't sure whether he was going to chip the ball. It's kind of on the upslope, but you just knew it was against the grain.
Yep.
What's he going to do? I know Seve Ballesteros, no matter what the situation, would have chipped it.
Raymond Floyd would have as well.
Raymond Floyd would have chipped it. So my top 5 coming up on the back of Minwoo Lee's great putt to 6 inches is places where Seve Ballesteros
Yeah.
chipped it on the final hole.
Ooh.
And you should see it.
I can't wait
It
for
is
this.
some of the greatest chips you've ever seen in your life.
I hope you've got Lytham in there. 'Cause
Yeah, it's got Lytham.
That's one of the best chips of all time.
Yeah, I've got that. So that's coming up. I'll see you on the 10th tee.
All right.
Looks good, man. Dude. Are we in slow motion, too?
We're live from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. We all know the number one ball in golf is Titleist and the number one shoe and glove in golf is FootJoy. We're here thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Ping will always help you play your best. Turn your bogeys into birdies with the Watch My Numbers app, and Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. That's better. Now, back to Talk Birdie to Me. Here's Nick and Mark.
So welcome back to the 10th tee, and we've got our normals, top 5, Ping Global results. I think we've got a trumpeter today, Nick.
Yes, Ping Global.
Could
Can't
be
wait.
interesting. Is he
Can't
coming
wait.
in? Or Dan, is he coming in? What's he doing?
No, we're going to get him on WhatsApp.
What's that? All right.
Well, that's good, just in case he's no good.
Out of
Just in
all
case.
your, by the way, out of all your top 5s you've done,
Yeah.
I think this is the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
Well, I had to craft this one yesterday. I had to craft it and get all the video because you can't just talk about it. You
No.
actually got to see them
You
all
gotta watch it.
to believe it. So my top 5 today is Seve Ballesteros chips on the last hole.
Okay.
because when I saw Minwoo Lee take the putter out on the 72nd, I thought to myself, Seve chip it.
Seve would have chipped it in.
Seve would have chipped it.
Probably.
But Minwoo did the right thing because I reckon you were shitting your pants. Yeah. And I reckon it was the absolute right thing to do. And clearly it was because he hit it to 5 inches.
Yeah.
And the top 5 is for Southern Golf Club, who've got that amazing new painting there as well, which just looks fantastic.
Yep.
So it's
And a
just
statue.
Brilliant.
Just brilliant.
All
So
right.
go and check it out.
And great supporters of Talk Birdie to me. So thanks to everyone at Southern. I've put the earphones on because I want to hear it.
I want to hear it as well. But for our audio listeners, check it out on YouTube. by
Go
the
to
way.
YouTube.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You've got to see all these. So at number 5, he chips in on the 72nd hole of the US Masters for par.
For par.
Yeah.
Oh, he must have been over the back of the
Final round,
green.
4 under through the first 4 holes.
Yeah, he was.
An even close with a curtain call chip in par.
Oh,
Beat
Seve
Jack Newton.
Ballesteros, legendary.
that's right. Jack
Yeah.
finished second, didn't he?
Jack Newton
Yeah.
Admired by-
and might have been Ed Sneed or maybe
Yeah,
one
that
of those
sounds right.
sort of
Ed
players.
Fiore or something, yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
At number 4,
Oh, this is...
this is when he was a kid.
Okay.
And Johnny Miller won. But if you haven't seen this chip, he elects to run a chip through bunkers at Birkdale.
Oh, I remember this. Well,
Check this out.
I don't remember watching it, but I remember seeing it.
I think he was only 19 years old.
Yeah, he was. This is in 1976.
It was Seve's chip at the 18th, which characterised
Between
his
two
imagination
bunkers.
skill and announced his arrival.
It's got the black glove on too.
Black glove. Look at
Another
that.
golden moment.
Look at him. He's got a unibrow, the whole lot. Just
So
a
good.
19-year-old kid from Spain doing some crazy stuff. Okay, at number 3, in 1983 at the World Match Play, Seve
Must-
Ballesteros was playing Arnold Palmer.
This must be Wentworth then?
Yeah, I think it is.
Would be Wentworth if
I
it's
think
the
it
World
is.
Match Play.
He was playing Arnold Palmer, and they're even coming down the last. And Seve does this to beat the king.
Haven't seen
In
this one.
1983, Seve Ballesteros, the hero of today, was up against Arnold Palmer, the hero of yesteryear.
That gets the
Palmer looked
commentary.
as though he had the match tied up, and this is what Ballesteros did on the final hole.
All tied up. And Seve does
pitched it just
this.
short of the green, and he looks to have got the pace to perfection.
You are kidding me.
Against the king. It's fantastic that Arnold was still playing in World's Match Plays in 1983, isn't it? It is
Yeah, that's true.
sensational. That's number 3. Number 2, it was a dogfight. And I don't know why they played in threes on this particular British Open. There must have been 150 of them made the cut or something.
Must be Lytham.
Lytham, yeah.
Lytham.
So he's playing with Nick Price and Nick Faldo and hit it over the back. He was only leading by 1 shot. He was only leading by 1 and had to get this up and down to win the Open Championship.
Landed on the green, rolled up, sticks it right next to the hole.
Just
Leap
melts over the right edge. I think that's the famous one where in the maybe in the aftermath, because he beaten Nick Price
Yeah.
by a shot, as you say, where he says, "One day you too be a champion like me." Eh?
That's exactly right. Beautiful.
And not long after, Nicky Price did win a major.
All right. Now, this one's unique because the shot before this particular chip in,
Oh, yeah.
no one can believe. So this was the European Open, somewhere up in the mountains in the Swiss Alps.
Cross-Cissier.
There we go. And I'll let Billy Foster tell the story in a little bit, but he's hit this freak shot behind an 8-foot wall to just short of the green. He's birdied the 5 previous holes. He's got to chip this in to take a 1-shot lead. So he birdies the last 6. Have a look what he does.
Over the bunker, a little chip and run.
Watch how it just leaks right at the end.
Oh, you're kidding me. Gee, Billy Foster must have been young then. Wow.
Well, now I found that shot in this little take of Billy Foster. Now, Billy Foster's getting quite famous on this particular podcast because Nick O'Hearn went around the world saying that now that he's been sacked from whose golf bag?
I don't think he's been sacked,
Well,
but they split from Matt Fitzpatrick.
From Matt Fitzpatrick.
I wonder
So-
if he's got a job yet, actually.
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. Anyway, so Billy Foster was on Seve's bag back then, and he tells the story of the last ever European Tour event that Seve won very well.
Yeah, and Seve was 5 shots off the lead with 6 holes to play. And he birdied 5 in a row and stood on the 18th tee, tied for the lead. Sliced a 3-wood and finished here behind me, behind an 8-foot wall. And as I went to assess the shot, you know, obviously he's got to get it up over an 8-foot wall with a load of fir trees over the top of the wall with tiny little chinks of daylight. Over the diving board, and then there used to be like 4
over the diving
There's a
board,
swimming pool over there.
30 yards short of the green. And he asked me how far we had, and I said, Seve, just chip it out sideways, wedge it on the green, and you can still make par and win the tournament. No, I think I see the shot there, and I'm like, you've lost the plot. Just chip it out sideways and make a par, you know. No, go and get the yardies. So I walked out, had a quick look at the green. I didn't even get a yardage, I just blagged it. I went 140, mate. Okay, give me the pitching wedge. I'm like, no, Seve. And then eventually, my famous line was, look, I know you're Seve Ballesteros, but you're not effing Paul Daniels. Just chip it out. No, you're the worst caddy I ever have. You go away, I have the shot there.
You're the worst caddy I ever
Put
had.
doubt in my mind, go away. So I walked away sulking, tripping over my bottom lip, and he proceeded to hit this shot. I thought it was going to hit the wall, come back, hit him between the eyes and kill him. And then, of course, I've lost my boss, but more importantly, I was going to lose my percentage money. And he played this shot, and obviously dust everywhere. Managed to get over the wall, missed the kid on the diving board there, over the pine trees, and finished a yard short of the green. And then he chipped it in for birdie. And it was the most special shot I've seen in 30.
Yeah, well, I agree with that,
good.
Billy. And the greatest chip Seve ever hit on a final hole. And that's my top 5 for this week.
So good. Well, I've been to that wall because they have a plaque there.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they put a plaque with the Seve because we used to play, it's now the European Masters at Cransessier. Not a good golf course, but anyway.
Yeah.
And you stand there and you go, how?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's funny you say that because when you go to the practice rounds of the US Masters, those little flags that they put in the long rough at US Opens, they put them down in special places. So there's one on 16 where Tiger hit the chip from, the very famous chip on 16. But there's also a flag down where Bubba Watson, fellow lefty and ping player, hit that huge hook in the playoff.
On the 10th, yeah.
On the 10th hole. And the flag is there where the divot was taken, and you just can't imagine how this thing got on the green. I mean, it is just remarkable. So, if you're lucky enough to be heading over to Augusta this week, and I imagine some of our listeners, some of the Wolfpack probably would be, well, check out those flags.
Yep.
The other one to have a look at is Phil Mickelson. Remember Phil hit that shot on 13 through the pine trees, and he didn't have a follow through?
Yeah, the 6-iron. But I don't think you can get down there because that's where the players hit from. But
But you can see where the flag
See where it
was,
is.
and you can stand behind it and see the gap that he hit it through.
Yeah.
And don't forget he missed the putt, but still went on the win.
And Bones said he was trying to talk him out of it.
Yeah, that's right.
And Phil says, no, this is a percentage shot. Because when he pulls it, he's okay. Oh, it's crazy.
All right.
Now, time for the Ping Global Results, guys. And we have a guest who is on WhatsApp who is going to play something for your approval.
Okay. All right, I'll put the headphones on.
Get the headphones.
Where's our man?
There
he
is.
Anthony from Woodlands, nice to see you. And you got the trumpet in hand too.
I love it.
Now, Anthony, are you more a trumpeter or more a golfer?
Not great at either.
Oh, okay.
Hang on.
Righto.
Let me put it this way.
I'm setting Mark up here.
What's your handicap in golf?
GA's 3 point something.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
good golfer.
what would your handicap be as a trumpeter?
Yeah, I'm probably about a 3 handicap.
Oh,
Yeah, righto.
that's good.
Okay, I don't
like
mind
it.
this. You're a black belt, as far as I'm concerned. You're going well. All right, and you've been listening to the podcast right from the start, or just picked it up lately?
Just lately, Mark. I'm glad that you've now seen me tonight. I'm not a kid.
That's very true. Well, look, it's over to you. I mean, we can't get a hold of Timmy Trumpet, so maybe Anthony Trumpet is our next best. Let's see what happens.
Maybe Bully the Bugler. Here we go.
Right.
All right.
I'm starting to feel it. Yes. Keep going.
Love it.
hair on the back of my neck is sticking up again.
It's been a while.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Woo. Well,
Love
look,
it.
the other two were a little bit worried you wouldn't be any good. Not me. I knew you'd be good. I knew you'd be good.
Oh man.
It's been a while since a paid gig.
That is brilliant.
Anthony, can you do anything freeform, like not that's like just some freeform, groove type stuff?
Mr. Worrying over here
Yeah.
thinks it's going to go through all copyrights and stuff.
Thinks we can't.
No, not think. It will.
We can't use that, can we?
Yes.
But we know he can play the Timothy Trumpeter song.
Maybe you can just do something a little bit different. What's that?
I know Marco's a keen Collingwood supporter.
Oh,
go on.
okay.
Ooh, here we go.
Hang on.
No,
I was going to mute it.
We'll lose half the audience, unfortunately.
Oh, Anthony's clearly very, very good. Very
We're
good.
not going to play my footy team. Carlton are terrible at the moment.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
who knows? You might turn things around on Thursday night.
Carlton Collingwood, yeah.
Let's hope
Yeah.
so.
All right, Anthony, thank you so much.
Brilliant.
It was nice
worries,
to
guys.
hear it again. It was nice to hear it again.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks.
So how are we going to do
that?
that?
The pro shop for a few hours. Cheers.
Good on you.
Thank you. Thanks, Anthony.
Appreciate
Anthony
it.
from
No
Woodlands.
worries, guys. See ya.
And by the way, if you're not from Victoria and you've never played Woodlands, put it on the list. It is one of the great golf courses that we have in the country. It's probably the best
Very underrated.
short course in the world.
Yeah,
as
one
far
of,
as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the best.
To answer your question, Nick, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you can't use
Let's risk
that,
it.
right?
Let's risk it.
We can't use it. We can't use it. Anthony was great.
Dan,
Anyway,
brilliant.
We
Dan,
can't.
you're Nick O'Hearn.
He's off a +1.
You're on top of the hill at 15, and you're just going to hit 3 wood, mate. Let's just risk it.
You're paying the fines.
Yeah.
They'll never know.
Oh,
Nick,
nah.
They'll never know.
They will know. Nick, take it away before Mark gets us in more trouble and we
my
lose
goodness.
our podcast license.
Yeah, it was just so great to hear it. As you say, chills. Ping Global results. Here we go. PGA Tour, the Texas Children's Houston Open. As we know, Min Woo Lee, he had a 4-shot lead going into the final round, but he was chased down. Chased down by
It
Scotty
always happens,
Scheffler
Nick.
and Gary Woodland, who shot a 62. Scheffler shot a 63. For the one-shot win, first win in 56 starts. Best of the Australasians, other than Min Woo, was Ryan Fox, who was playing with Min Woo, by the way.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame for Ryan. Didn't quite have the day he wanted. Shot 71 final day. Finished tied for 15th, and then Jason Day tied for 27th.
It was better, I think, for Ryan to be in that last group. And Scheffler had a putt on the last that on the day before that if he holed, he would have replaced Ryan Fox in the last group. So he
okay.
missed it, and I thought that was important
Yeah.
for Min Woo trying to get his
Worked
first
out
win.
pretty well.
Yeah.
Pace of play wasn't great, though, towards the end there. I know
Yeah.
Tosti, who they were playing with, is a bit of a up-and-down sort of player as well.
Well, he was filthy at Min Woo for the amount of time he was taking.
yeah.
Normally we would be too, but when you're trying to win your
Yeah,
first
that's very
tournament
true.
on the PGA Tour, we give you a leave pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On the DP World Tour, we had the Hero Indian Open, and this golf course, the feature is the bunkers. Just some
The riveted?
amazing... Not the riveted. Come on. You're just winding me up now.
The riveted.
Riveted. Have we got a picture of that,
Yeah,
by the way, Dan?
they're
Sorry to
I want to
throw
play
you in there. But tell you what, this golf course, so hard. 3 players finished under par. 3 players.
Incredible. So I saw a little bit of golf on the third round, and the greens were extremely hard. But I just want to play the golf course.
Yeah.
I've got no.
There's bunkers there that you go, I don't think you can get out of.
Yeah.
I mean, let's take a look at this one. I think
flick
Dan's
it
got
across, Dan.
lined
There
up
we go.
shortly.
Look at that.
For our people that are listening, there's a player in there, and the bunker is twice the height of him.
Yeah.
But look at the revetting.
Yeah.
So good.
So we've all seen it.
Oh, that's a
The
nasty
revetted
one.
bunkers.
Hey, that's David Howell.
It is too. We were talking about him last week.
Here we were.
So we've all seen the revetted bunkers on the British open rotation golf courses and many others. All the other courses that are right around the country, but never seen revetted bunkers like that. I mean, on steroids, like you say.
Anyway, Eugenio Chikara, who was left off the Fireballs roster this season by Sergio Garcia, who was on the Live Tour. So he remember he was a real champion college player, one of the best college players in the world. Ended up winning his 4th event on the Live Tour, I think. But he got an invite into this event, made double bogey on the first, but recovered to end up with a 2-shot win over Keita Nakajima, who that's consecutive runner-ups for Nakajima because he played really well in Singapore last year.
I wonder how many players have won a tournament after doubling the first hole of that tournament. There'd be a few.
Of the final round.
Of the final round.
He doubled the first.
Okay.
Yeah, he doubled the first.
That's hard.
Well, remember John
Not many do
Rahm.
that.
What
Not
did
many,
he do?
hardly any would have done
Rahm,
that.
when he won the Masters, I think he tripled the first, didn't he?
The first hole
tournament.
of the tournament.
I think
yeah,
he did,
that's
yeah.
right.
Anyway.
Yep, I think you're right.
Of the Aussies, Jason Scrivener tied for 31st and tied for 63rd. Daniel Gale. On the LPGA Tour, they were playing the Ford Championship presented by Wild Horse Pass.
Really?
It's quite a
nice.
title. At the Whirlwind Golf Club in Arizona. I've actually played there. I did an outing there once with...
The Whirlwind Golf Club?
Whirlwind, yeah. I did an outing there once with
Fabulous name.
Washington State University. I was helping them for a couple of days there. It's a really excellent facility. But Hyoju Kim, the Korean, shot a final round 64. She started 4 back of Lilia Vu and ended up defeating her in a playoff on the first playoff hole. Hit a beautiful wedge shot into that final green. Hold about an 8-foot putt for the win. Of the Australasians, Lydia Ko tied for 6th, Steph Kyriakou tied for 13th, and Cassie Porter tied for 27th. They were the best of the Aussies. Champions Tour, here it is. Stevie Allan, your cousin
really?
Allan. They played the Gallery Classic at Rancho Mirage in California. Shot a 5-under front 9
Oh.
to really set the pace for a one-shot win over Tag Ridings. That's his first win in 23 years. You know what his last win was?
Yeah, the Australian Open, I gifted him.
Australian Open when it was a 54-hole event at Victoria.
But it wasn't a last round cancellation
It wasn't.
gifting win.
No.
He actually had to win it on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
And good on him.
But you know what's really good about this story about Stevie?
What's
he
that?
was an alternate for this tournament.
Oh, you're
and he
kidding.
got in because you know who withdrew?
Who?
Stevie Stricker.
Oh, you're kidding?
He always gets on this show,
How does
Steve.
he get in this show so often, Steve Stricker? That is incredible.
So if you're Steve Allan, you should buy Steve Stricker something pretty special.
So they'll call him a journeyman, and I was calling him a journeyman's journeyman. I mean, he really was. In fact, if you got all the world's journeymen and put them on a tour, Steve Allan would be a journeyman on that tour.
Yeah. And his other nickname was Babyfaced Assassin.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there would not be, people who know Steve, there would not be one person who wouldn't be just so happy for he and his family to have a win like this. You know, just to battle and battle and battle, and your family backs you and backs you and backs you. And then to win something like this, get your card, no more worrying about qualifying and all that kind of stuff. You're all set for a while.
Well,
it's just beautiful.
He came through Q School when I think there was four Aussies got their cards, right? Yeah, and he sort of spoke about that a little bit after, and I think Dan's got an interview, the post-winning interview that he did. And it's just great to see him talk about everything.
Right,
see if we can get it
You
up
know,
here.
when you're coming into the final round of a Q School, and sadly I've been to way too many in my career, pretty much every year in the PGA Tour, there's a feeling of, it's literally feeling sick, you know. And I can remember a couple of Q Schools when I was right on the edge, right on the score, going into the last round, like literally the night before I could hardly eat. And I think this one, you know, we had a lot of Aussie friends playing, and obviously we all got through. 4 of us got through, and Greg Chalmers, that didn't play the best out of all of us last year. I think that helped. I think you know, having it at home helped me, and I think that you know, that was one of the things that helped me today. Like, I literally thought to myself today, well, you know, this is not like Q School. If I have a bad day today, I'm still on the tour and I'm still going to make some money, and so that helped me just kind of, you know, keep it in perspective, I guess.
How good.
Isn't that fantastic?
It's just so good. So happy for him.
Has he got the record for the most tour schools made? Like, he got through? I mean, he must have it.
He must.
I mean,
he was back and forth so many years.
Like he says, I mean, he was in that many tour schools, but he got through so many times.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
incredible. He would have to have that record or close to it.
That was a great win for Steve, but of the other Australasians, Steve Orca, of course, he's always up there, tied for 3rd. Cam Percy had a 6th place finish, and in tied 7th was Stuart Appleby, shot a final round 64, thank you very much.
Stevie,
and
Stewie.
Richard Green as well. Yeah, they were the best of the Aussies. On the local front, we're at the National for the final event on the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia. Good idea, we don't need the headphones anymore. On the Gunnamatta course, and the course was an absolute treat. There was really a lot of fun commentating my home course because I'm a member there and I absolutely love it. Harrison Crowe, they had a 2-shot win over Anthony Quayle.
No bogeys in the last day for Crowe, I noticed.
And it was blowing, about 40 k an hour with gusts up to 60 kilometres, so really tough out there.
Interesting. The same sort of score won on the Gunnamatta that won when it was quite windy on Norman's course, the Moona.
That's true.
So that was interesting to me because I was always told that the Gunnamatta was quite easy.
Well, they turned the 18th hole, it's normally a par 5 into a par 4. So, you know, you could probably add take another 4 shots off. So it was really good scoring. But there was all these permutations happening with the Order of Merit because they give away DP World Tour cards. In tied third was Andrew Martin, Quinn Croker and Curtis Luck. Now, Curtis Luck at one stage, he was coming outright second and he was going to get a DP World Tour card. But unfortunately, he bogeyed the last couple of holes. Anthony Quayle...
He bogeyed the short 17th?
He did, yeah. He went from bunker to bunker. It was really quite a difficult hole with the wind pumping off the left. So, but obviously... Elvis Smiley wins the Order of Merit, and then at the moment we've got Ryan Peake getting a DP World Tour card, Anthony Quayle, and if Lucas Herbert and Cam Smith don't take up their status because they were before Quayle, then Jack Buchanan will get one of those cards as well. So
and
that'll be
can
great.
I just say well done to you and your team at PGA TV because they handled all the Order of Merit stuff really well.
Yeah.
That was a feature of watching the last half an hour of that tournament, which was
and
great.
the other great thing was we got the winning
Got
part.
the last part. Yeah, good. Well, that'll never happen.
Anyway,
again,
that's
folks.
this week's Ping Glober results.
Righto, time for some feedback, Dan.
We had plenty of feedback as usual, and we've got lots on the international feed as you'd expect. So we won't spend too much time on that, but we'll just touch on a couple. This is from Longy Longhorn. Guys, we pay top dollars to KO to watch and get given the C-grade feed. No wonder Liv is so popular here. Australia, again, fobbed off by the PGA Tour.
Look, a lot of golfers think we are fobbed off quite often in the world of commentary. Quite often. So we'll see what happens, but this is only just started.
Time will tell.
This could go nuclear.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone agrees. Ash Golf, for example, the international feed is fine because international players are winning all the PGA Tour events.
Well,
you'd see them anyway.
Yeah, but let's just wait until we don't have any internationals up there in a tournament, and
we keep on crossing the blokes coming 50-50.
Yeah. Exactly.
True. Okay, this one from Andrew. Hey, men, in the words of Dan, first of all, a whack for you two.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. You keep talking about the US commentary team and use the term ABC, Jim Nantz, Dottie Pepper interchangeably and with inaccurate references to the commentators, their stations or their networks and the tournaments they cover.
That's right.
These are correct. CBS,
Okay.
Nantz, Immelman, IBF, Nobilo.
Thank you.
NBC, Hicks, Wood, Bones, Mackay.
Yes.
And they cover CBS, Masters, Pebble,
Yes.
NBC, the US Open, the Players. So that's
good.
That.
Yeah, well,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Which is actually very helpful.
There's all these ABCs, CBSs, NBCs. It's just all confusing.
That's right.
Yeah, it is
But
hard.
our point is we just want the A team, no matter what network it's on. Just give us the A team, give us the ones that are at the golf course with all the info.
Yeah.
Andrew goes on to say, a positive, I agree completely with your comments on Australia getting the awful world feed. Can you please use your power and influence to get this sorted? Love the pod, from Andrew.
We'll do our best.
I'm not hoping very much.
We'll do our best.
We will do our
making
best.
phone calls. We're trying. But look, I think it's got to play out. And I think the more people that complain about it,
Yes.
that will get things moving. I imagine at some stage, Nick, maybe you could have the international feed on Channel 503 and the
Yes.
other feed on Channel 505.
Good idea.
Like they do in the Masters. Like the Masters next week, I think there's going to be about 3 or 4 channels.
Well, worst case, I'm just going to watch the Masters app.
Yes.
Because they do their own app, obviously. So.
And that's another point about the international feed these days. I mean, if you really love golf and you want to see Joe Blow finish 55th, then you can go to the app and you can actually tap on Joe Blow and you can basically see every single shot he hit. You can do whatever you like.
Okay.
Lots of comments on the commentary. This one from Jacob. I was actually watching the 94 Open Championship where Price won at Turnberry. The commentary was brilliant. Peter Ellis, Alex Hay, Bruce Critchley.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah, they were good, weren't they?
Oh, Peter
And
Ellis.
who was the other one? Renton Laidlaw.
Renton?
He was good too.
Yeah, he was famous for Birdie. Yeah, but Peter Ellis, he was one of my favourites. They used to just stick him in the commentary booth by himself and he would just muse to himself as the pictures would come up. And then, of course, they always used to show the duckies.
Yeah.
There'd be a mother duck and all the little ducklings and they'd stay on that for about 5 minutes and he made it work, Peter Ellis.
Will there be someone swimming in the water?
Yeah,
do
that's
the
it.
same thing.
A bunch of comments on your Monty story last week too, Mark. There was heaps. I've got 3 or 4 that I thought were kind of fun.
Okay.
Freo has said, that was a good story. I was told he kicked you a ball off the tee at Huntingdale. Can you confirm?
He accidentally on the second. So I had so much on that story. On the second tee of that round, I pegged it and walked over, and he mustn't have seen the ball. And when he walked onto this tiny little tee that was the second, he's kicked my ball off the tee.
Okay.
Now, I didn't see whether he did it on purpose or not, but I don't know how. I've never kicked someone's ball off a tee on accident, Nick. Have you? Have you accidentally moved somebody's ball off
No, I don't think I
tee?
have. So, yeah.
Well, he did that to me on the second.
Given he liked you so much, I'm sure it was an accident.
I'm sure the chip-in really hurt his feelings.
Ben has said, great stories. Can we expect Monty on the pod sometime soon to tell his side of the story?
I doubt he'd remember it, but I'd love to get him on.
It would be
just
fun.
to reminisce about it and why he was such an arsehole back in 1992. I actually looked it up.
And
he started his run of the 7 Order of Merits in a row the year after.
The year after.
Yeah, so 1993 was his first. 92, he was just an up-and-comer.
Yeah, and Monty began, what, eh?
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Bernard has said, Mark, it's good to hear you are just like a weekend hacker with all that negative self-talk even after your first shot. Ha ha.
That's right. Well, it was a very bad shot.
Yes. Elga, I reckon it was easy not to like Monty, but 80% of that story was about you and where you were at. Monty had no obligation to change his routine to make you feel less nervous, but walking off as you putt was, of course, very bad form. I do note that, regardless of that, it did appear to bring out the best golf in you that day.
Yeah, I played well.
True.
Yeah, I had a really good putting and chipping day, and he was the complete opposite. He was just striping it. The wind didn't even touch his ball. He was hitting it that good.
The moral of that story is, Dan, he should just play with more assholes.
I'm going to finish on this one from Monty, about Monty, because this is another Monty story.
Okay.
And this is from Jake. I reckon everyone's got a Monty story. I was with my cheeky brother at the Australian Open at Royal Sydney 99. Monty had been scoffing at the gallery the entire way around.
That's right.
He was teeing off the par 3 14th. My brother brings his sausage roll to his mouth. Monty pulls away and says, "Do you know how to keep still?" My brother replies, "Sorry, Monty, I'm just excited to see you." The crowd laughs. For a second, Monty looked like he was going to snap his head off, but then he stepped back and smiled.
Good.
There you go. Good.
Yeah,
well done.
good. That year, that's the 99. That's when Aaron Badley won as an amateur.
Yes.
And I spoke to a few people that year because it was still fresh in my mind. And they had similar experiences, everyone who played with Monty that week.
Yeah, I remember that final day.
It was amazing.
You know who finished leading pro?
You.
And Greg.
And Greg.
Yeah,
you and Greg.
Yeah, Greg and I were I wanted to go into a playoff for the Czech, but he wouldn't be in it. So I'm kidding. I'm kidding, obviously. I couldn't believe.
I thought Monty came second that year.
No.
You and Greg Norman.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Well, we have got pages and pages of feedback, but we're not going to get through it all today. So what we might do is come back later in the week, do a feedback pod, because we now need to do the masterclass for Watch My Numbers. Okay?
Perfect.
Now, who's doing it today?
I got it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
me. We're going to do it in studio again.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Okay. Well, you
Let's
guys
get set
going.
up.
Hey,
All right.
thanks to everybody for all the feedback as well. And by the way, I wouldn't mind some video messages. So if you go to talkbirdietome.com.au and you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see a button that says play and record. You can, if you stuff up your first one, you can just delete it and keep going. So go to talkbirdietome.com.au. Leave us a message. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, the masterclass this week is on Minwoo's putt on the final green or off the final green. He was behind it, obviously didn't chip it like Mark was saying.
Seve would have chipped it.
Seve would have chipped it. We do know that, but the putter is a great option for when you are off the green, especially those long ones. So the one thing you'll notice about what Minwoo did was his backswing and follow-through were the same length, okay? Now, the most common thing I see with a lot of golfers is what they do is they have the same length backswing, a fairly short one, quite slow, and they either hit it harder or softer depending on the length of the putt. Now, that's really hard to gauge the speed when you do that. Whereas what you want to do is you want to match that backswing and that follow-through in length and in speed. So how fast you take it back is how fast you take it through. If you've got a short putt, well, it's going to be short back and through. But if you've got a long putt like what Minwoo had, what he did, rather than hitting the putt harder, he actually just extended his backswing a bit further. So he just made a longer backswing. So on the longer putts, longer backswing, longer follow-through. Shorter putts, shorter backswing, shorter follow-through. That's going to give you great speed on those long ones. And speed on the greens, that's what it's all about.
Now, Nicholas, that is a sensational masterclass. And believe it or not, folks, I mean, a lot of you might do that already, but half of the golfers that I play with at my club do exactly what you're talking about. They have the same length backswing no matter whether it's a 3-footer or a 60-footer.
Exactly. And it's so hard to judge speed with that type of motion.
So, Nick, as you're getting your seat, it was explained to me like this once, that if you were in a car and you had to drive to the finish line, and over that finish line, you had to be going 60 kilometres an hour, you wouldn't go slow, and then get to the finish line and go whoosh straight past the 60. Yeah. You would actually get up to 60 kilometres and cruise across.
Perfect.
So it's the same sort of thinking with the long backswing.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got the short backswing, the acceleration when you're going past the finish line, which is the ball, you'd absolutely have to fluke it to get it right. But the long backswing not only gives you enough time to cruise past that finish line, it gives you time to think as well. You can actually feel what's going on so much better.
Yeah, and Minwoo's speed on that final putt was just phenomenal, and that's what won him his first golf tournament.
And just so that is applicable to long chips as well. Short chips, it's a short backswing, a slow short backswing, and long chips, it's just a longer backswing.
Absolutely. Short game, it's all about distance control.
Righto. We've got what do we got? The Texas Open, and then, folks, it is Augusta. Cannot wait to get started. See you for the feedback pod, and I'll see you next week.
All right, cheers.
And that's been Talk Birdie, Australia's most popular golf podcast, with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allan, coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. As everyone knows, Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a review, and we'd love you to share the pod with a friend who loves their golf. Huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Ping, like they do for Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet always beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. Watch My Numbers is the most powerful data-based golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. And better, they've got the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Download from the App Stores today. Now that's better. Keep in mind, what are you really gambling with? But for now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.
How does the best get better? With more speed off the tee, more control with your irons, more spin with your wedges. Introducing the all-new Pro V1 and Pro V1X.